What's up today? Let's just start. What do you got? Where are you I don't know. You working on anything today? Rehearsal?
Uh,
Practice?
no, meeting up with a friend later and, yeah, trying to carve out some time to chill, so, yeah, this is mostly a chill time for me. How about you?
I'm am I in a chill time? I'm in a record or like finishing writing the new Extra Life. Uh
Nice.
and yeah, in Chicago we're in November we're going to Chicago to record.
Oh, great.
And so yeah, it's like all this writing very highly complicated music more quickly than I thought I was going to be. Like, don't tell the guys, but a lot of this stuff I'm cranking out at the last minute. But yeah. So I'm in writing mode, and I'm like,
I still remember something you said about composing years ago. Maybe this was, like, when you were in Z's, when you were writing music for Z's. I don't remember who you said this to or what, but you were like, "Yeah, when I'm writing, if I'm working on a section and I think it's long enough, I challenge myself to make it 3 times as long."
I
Do you remember
love.
saying that?
I don't at all,
I
and
thought it was awesome. It stayed with me.
I love that you remember something like that, because these are the kind of things that that sounds like something I would have said at a certain point, but I don't know I'm trying to get in the headspace of what I meant, you know, right? If I think it's what you said, if I think it's too long, then I decide to make it
No,
longer.
like, when you think something is maybe the right length, you're like, "No, I'm going 3 times as long with this."
Right. That's a very new music-y, right, kind of
Yeah.
vibe where you're just it's like, it's what I've been calling like a go to bed hungry music, like you just make people, you're like just no dessert, just 3 hours of just vegetables. But yeah, that I mean you can do that with improvised stuff too, right? You just get
Yeah,
into a
totally.
zone and you're just like, we're just gonna do this zone. I
Yeah.
often with free playing, actually, I often wish people were more down to do stuff like that, like
Yeah,
just
totally.
uncomfortably, like not going anywhere type.
Right.
Um,
Rather
they
than trying to show everyone everything you've got.
yeah, yeah. I mean that's what got me really like going so deep on composition and moving, not permanently, but for a while, kind of moving away from improvisation, because I was just like, uh yeah, like flow of ideas wise, on that crazy new music shit, you're just like, uh yeah, like the keeping, like restraining the flow of ideas for like crazy
Mhm.
amounts of time and then accelerating and stuff. but
Mhm.
but yeah, I mean, it's funny, like I mean, so anyone who's okay, so people watching, right? Like we've got people tuning in. We Mary and I, okay, introduction. I'm like assuming too much. But maybe not. Mary Halvorson is one of the most celebrated, respected guitar players of our generation. And it's not just in the world of jazz, but just creative music in general. And we go way, way back. We went to college together at Wesleyan, but we met in high school
Yep.
at the Berkeley Summer Jazz Program.
Yep. I remember being in, like, a guitar class with you. I remember meeting you as, like, a bunch of guitar players
Yeah,
sitting around in a circle. It's funny how you have these, like, very specific memories. I can almost, like, picture the room of us sitting around with a bunch of guitar players learning, like, chord voicings or something.
was that I remember us in sight reading class together. That I remember, because I
Yeah.
got this sense. I don't know. It's like that's a very particular thing for a
Yeah.
guitar player. You're like, oh, so I got to do this too. Like, okay, like I didn't. Yeah, later I was just like, yeah, I'm a reader. It's part of my thing. At that point, I was just like,
The less fun part.
yeah, no, totally. But yeah, I mean, the reason I was getting psyched, or one of the reasons getting psyched for the stream, I was like, man, we hung so much in college, obviously, but like, I don't remember us talking shop as much as maybe we could have. Like, I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
I don't remember being like, I don't remember having a clear sense of like what you're working on, like what,
Right.
because you were always like a practice head, like a serious practice person. And I yeah, I don't remember being like, oh, I'm working on this. Like, what are you shedding? You know, it would just be like, we'd sort of see each other develop, but like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Isn't
yeah,
it funny? I feel like that's kinda common when you're hanging out with musicians, maybe just because 'cause we're, like, thinking about music all the time, that sometimes you just don't talk about it.
right, 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 right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Or everyone's got their little secret weapons they're working on, you know, or
Yeah.
whatever. But I mean, one thing, we went to Wesleyan Liberal Arts College. Anthony Braxton was teaching there at the time. He was the big attraction there.
Mhm.
Um, how like yeah, how did you get going? I mean, yeah, we don't need to get on some just like what was the first music you heard type stuff, but just on an interviewee vibe. I mean, like how like what were you working on? I'm really interested in just like the shedding, the
Like,
straight
what
up
was I working on in college?
yeah, versus like what I'm interested in the role of practice in your life because I know guitar players are watching this and they're going to want to know what you were shedding when you were 20, when you were 25, when you were, you know,
Right.
people are going to want to know that. Like, were you
Yeah, I mean,
doing
it
jazz?
it
Like,
it changes a lot. I was like, definitely in high school, I was, like, trying to learn how to play tunes. That was, like, the main thing. I was
like
trying to
jazz.
work on jazz. I had a jazz guitar teacher. I was, like, really working on that. And then I got to Wesleyan, and when I got into Braxton stuff, I was like, "What the hell is going on?" Like, I don't know if you had this experience being in his classes, but I almost felt like he was speaking a different language.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah.
it was just like, "What is he saying, and what does this mean?" And it was super exciting, but I was like I remember taking his triaxiom writings out of the library and, like, trying to understand what he was talking about.
Yeah.
And then just, like, you mentioned reading, like, that was how I learned how to read, was trying to
Same.
read his stuff. And then there was that large ensemble class where he would just conduct, like, the craziest stuff, and nobody there could play at all, and I don't know how, like, I don't know how we did it.
Yeah, yeah. Those large ensembles were really funny to me because, right, yeah, it'd be like 60 people. Some
Yeah,
of them are like the heaviest, just it's like Steve Lehman and
yeah,
James Bay. But since Braxton gave everyone an A automatically, you'd have these jock dudes with like a visor, like playing on a
yeah,
bucket. Like, so it would just be this clattering storm of like a mess, but then in it you could hear like
yep.
you and James Fay like nailing some crazy rhythms like
Well,
in
I
the
was
mix.
not nailing it.
You weren't nailing it
I was
yet?
not nailing it. But I actually remember I saw Steve Lehman the other day, and I told him this story, but I remember, like, you don't realize how much you're like, everyone thinks they're reading, but really they're just following the person who's the strongest reader, and that was definitely Steve Lehman.
Right.
And, I remember he had, like, a dentist appointment or something, and he had to leave in the middle of class, and the whole thing just completely fell apart. And then I was like, "Oh, it's really only Steve that's playing it."
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, no, he's a good one to follow. Yeah, I mean, he was killing on that stuff early on. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, Braxton was it's weird, like, yeah, like, reading this insanely hard stuff was the thing that made me want to be a reader,
Yeah,
actually.
totally.
Yeah, you know, because for jazz, if you're playing relatively straight ahead jazz, I mean, reading is not I mean, you don't have to be I mean, I watch interviews with, like, Matheny, and he's just like, "I'm not that much of a reader," you know, or like or
Yeah, a lot of guitar players aren't, which is why I think it's so important to do it, 'cause it's not as easy as, like, reading on a piano or a saxophone or something like that, like, it's definitely a complicated instrument to read on, but, like, if you can do it, like, it just takes a little bit of practice every day.
Yeah.
It takes some discipline, but it's
Yeah, yeah.
amazing to me how many guitar players don't even bother with it, 'cause I do think it's important, and if you can do it, then if you're in a situation like that, you're being told to read all this crazy stuff, if you can actually do it, then that's awesome.
Yeah, yeah, guitar players, the stereotype of not being able to read, it's important to break that, you know, we've
Yeah, and
worked on
it's very
breaking it.
true.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a
No,
true
it is.
stereotype in
It
most
is. No,
cases.
for sure. I mean, I didn't learn from Braxton. I went it was freshman year, I went and I was just like, "Oh, Jesus, Braxton," like, reading that stuff. Then I took a year off of school, I left, and I was taking Bach, just partitas and stuff out of the library in New York, and that would be the 20 minutes a day where I would just
Right.
do
You
the
took a year off? I didn't remember that.
Oh, yeah, 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 that was after freshman year. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Not
You
my
were just, like,
favorite
hanging in New York.
yeah, that was, like, my first kinda playing out in town and
Mhm.
connected with like Daniel Carter and some free jazz stuff. You
Yeah.
know, I was kind of doing some stuff and I was doing that band Time of Orchids too at that time too.
Oh, of course, yeah.
That was yeah, so yeah, New York. But then I was like, man, New York's gonna be here later. It's okay to go to college for 3 years,
Yeah.
which seemed like crazy, you know, it just seemed like you're just here for 4 years, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, like but yeah, then I caught up on the Bach a little bit. I was like, okay, I can foundation for reading, I can like do the Braxton thing. But like but were you like, so yeah, I mean, because like jazz, right? Like it's just an interesting thing. I feel like you and I kind of came up like at this, it's like changes generationally, I think. You know, we're like exactly the same age and doing
Mhm.
exactly the same uh yeah, like and it's like coming up, right? I had always had this feeling, right, when I was more like thinking I would do something that's rooted in jazz, right? There, I think our generation, there was still this thing of like you have to do XYZ to like be legit or whatever.
Mhm.
Did you have those feelings? Because I early on had to like leave stuff behind. Like I was like, oh, if I can't kill tunes at every tempo,
Yeah.
I'm not really a jazz player.
Right.
You know, and I mean, you definitely never left, I mean, jazz behind, even though, you know, you even still sometimes play standards, right? So I mean,
Yeah.
like, yeah, did you have like did you have an ambivalent thing with like the canon of jazz at any point, or
Oh, for
was
sure. I definitely had a phase. I had to take, like, 7 or 8 years off from it after being in school. I kind of had a love-hate relationship with it. Yeah, so I stopped playing tunes for a while, and then at a certain point, I was like, "Wait a minute, I love jazz."
yeah,
So I wanted to try to, I mean, I'm still trying to play tunes, you know? I
yeah.
think that's, like, a lifelong thing. I mean, I still practice tunes. I feel like it's also, if for no other reason, it's a really good way to, like, work on stuff on the guitar. So sometimes I'll use that as, like, a way to practice. I'm not like a killing tunes player, but I really enjoy playing tunes, and it's something I enjoy working on. So I still, I'll probably be working on it my whole life.
Deep, deep. Okay, okay, sick. Because I sort of, yeah, you said you took like 8 years off of playing tunes, like that.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, like 20s, right? Like, so this is
Yep.
when, yeah, I could see that. Yeah, but it's like at that, why'd you take time? I mean, you were just like, you said ambivalence. I mean, did you need to do that? Or was it like on some like, Jesus, I gotta break out of this? Or was it kind of like just you naturally were like, I'm gonna pause here?
I think I was just, sometimes being in school kind of sucks the life out of music in a sense. I think it just felt, I don't know, it felt, how would I explain it? Like, it was starting to feel a little bit formulaic, or, uh, I was being told to play a certain way, and I didn't wanna do that. So I think I was also at that point just kind of interested in other stuff. So I spent quite a bit of time, like, not working on more traditional jazz stuff, and I think I just needed a break, you
Yeah,
know? Um,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, and then at some point I was just, maybe I was listening to some classic jazz or something. I was just like, why am I not working on this? This is awesome."
Oh yeah,
Then I was able to kind of like, but I think that was the key to me, is instead of being like, I'm playing tunes and I'm playing them in this like specific way, or I'm playing this other stuff, whatever it is. I was working a lot on, like, I think that was when I was doing duo with Jessica Pavone, and I was doing the band People with Kevin Shea. So I was doing a lot of like other things that really weren't that related to jazz. And then when I started working on jazz again, I think the trick was like bringing it together rather than being like two separate people.
Yeah, 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 totally. Yeah, because when we were in our 20s in New York, I mean, you were very, I mean, we were both, you know, a part of that Brooklyn 2000s underground music, whatever that was, you
Yeah,
know,
you were
because
doing Z's and Seductive Sprigs. I remember
Mhm.
that band.
And then Extra Life, like,
Extra
a
Life.
little later, and, yeah, right, I mean, People, yeah, your band People, your duo with Kevin Shea, you know, we did a bunch of shows together,
Mhm.
and then also your duo with Jessica Pavone was like, did People ever make a record? I forget, actually.
Yeah, we made 3 records.
Damn,
Yeah.
I was more just seeing live People. Yeah,
It's really hard to find the records because it's just called People, and the first record is self-titled.
right,
So it's not easily, like, Googleable.
you weren't crunching the Google, numbers and stuff, yeah. But you and Jessica made a bunch of records as well. I mean,
Yeah,
that was
probably
over time.
I don't know how many we made, maybe, I don't know, 5,
Yeah, yeah,
something
yeah,
like
yeah. Yeah, yeah, the duo with Jessica was great. Yeah, and those things had very little to do with jazz. I mean, well, maybe harmonically? I don't know, like, because when it comes to jazz,
that.
right, this what you would get from practicing jazz, there's, like, different aspects, right? I mean, there's just pure chops, then there's
Mhm.
the harmonic aspect. I don't know, like, did you, like, as far as, like, your own harmonic deal, like, how much does that I mean, because currently your stuff, I hear jazz harmony
Mhm.
for sure.
Mhm.
I don't know, was it still jazz har like, would you technical stuff for players and stuff, when you're doing that stuff in the 2000s, people and stuff, I mean, were you thinking of, like, this is a 7th chord, this is, like, chord changes that you would write out, you know?
I mean, I think the way I compose usually, and it's still true now, is more by ear than anything. So I really try to not think about like I'm playing a C minor 7 chord with an 11 and a 9. Like I'm not thinking about that. Sometimes you just know, so it's but I really try to just go by sound, and then I'll go back and analyze later if I want someone to play over that chord or something, I'll go back and figure out what it was. But I really try to not think about it. That being said, this stuff definitely seeps in. But because I don't think about it or really analyze it, sometimes it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, which I'm totally cool with. So probably with like people, maybe some of that language was creeping in. It wasn't all just like power chords, although some of it was.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think it depends.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, yeah, when you're playing duo, it's like you don't have to maybe you don't have to, since you're not telling well, do it's you and Kevin on drums for that, so
Right.
it's like there's less, anything harmonic, you don't have to communicate.
Yeah, and my parts were pretty much through composed,
Right.
and then Kevin was, like, freaking out the whole I mean,
Yeah,
he
yeah, yeah.
was playing parts too, but it really, like, in a sense, it felt um, like a bunch of crazy drum solos over over this grid of a composed thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm kinda yeah, like, with composition, I mean, like, you really don't think about chord like, when you're writing for Amaryllis, I mean, like, just listening to the new record, the Amaryllis records, I mean, is that you're writing chord progressions, though, for a lot for because people are playing on changes, no? Or am I
Yeah, yep,
yeah,
a lot of the time. Yeah, but I'm not, like, thinking about them when I write them. I
okay.
don't know if that makes any sense. Like, I'm very rarely, like, writing out a chord progression and then, putting a melody like, it's gonna be some weird kind of backwards process most of the time of just, like, this series of notes sounds good together and, like, oh, it's this chord, moving to this chord, but it's not I guess what I'm trying to say is it's not, like what I never think about is something being correct. You know what I mean? Or something that you might read in um, like a composition book or something. I don't really care if it makes sense or not. Often it does, just because I might be hearing something that kind of makes sense as a progression.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. I mean, do you think about that stuff when you write?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I guess I don't tend to do stuff that's like, that's a good question. Yeah, actually, I kinda actually am somewhat, not like not like dealing with, like, correct or not, but, I mean, counterpoint-wise, I'll be thinking about even if it's just like a melody over a bass line,
Mhm.
I'm definitely like, "Oh, this is gonna go up, we're gonna do contrary motion, and then the thing's gonna
Mhm.
down, right? It's gonna be parallel here, we're gonna keep this for" I mean, yeah, there's a certain careful fiddling, vibe.
Careful fiddling, I love it.
There's some careful fiddling, yeah, yeah, but, but I guess, I mean, yeah, the, I mean, different I'm interested kinda like, there's so much counterpoint, I'm talking about counterpoint, like, you're, just chords versus lines, I don't know, like,
Mhm.
there's like it's like, you come to writing stuff, especially, like, at our point, you're, like, bringing just so many influences. You don't always know
Yeah, exactly.
how you're using all of them, But I mean, when you coming out of jazz originally, I mean, like with composition, it's traditional jazz, like composition's not that much of a thing that you get taught you're supposed to do. I mean, like as far as coming
Right.
up, you're like, oh, I'm a jazz player. Like when we were at the Berkeley Summer Jazz Program, like you're supposed to be writing a tune is like just this ancillary thing,
Right, right.
yeah. I mean, but you kind of early on were just like, I'm a composer also. I mean, that was,
Mm, I don't know, I probably wrote, like, some music in high school, but I don't totally remember. Definitely when we were at Wesleyan, I was writing music.
yeah, no, I noticed,
But I
yeah.
was also doing a lot of transcribing at that time, like, if there was something I liked, I would transcribe it, and, you were probably doing this too, but that was, like, in the kinda '90s, like, downtown scene in New York. Like, I remember driving down to New York all the time to go to, like, the Knitting Factory and Tonic,
Yeah.
and those clubs, and just, like, checking out all kinds of music, and then that was the kind of music I think I was really interested in that, like, a lot, like John Zorn and Mark Rebo and Nels Cline. I remember seeing, like, Joe Morris, all these guitar players and other people playing. So I was kind of, like, transcribing stuff like that, and maybe it was that kind of music that got me more interested in composing as well.
Yeah. 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 Same. I mean, we were into the same kind of stuff at the same, time getting into these, like the downtown thing. Yeah. That was definitely when I was like, oh, that's what it would mean to be a composer,
Mhm.
more than like coming out of actual classical music,
Right.
even though the idea of quote unquote capital C composer, that is kind of on some coming out of the Euro thing. But, yeah, we were both kind of coming to that. Yes. Not from, yeah, coming to that from an already kind of hybrid fusion kind of thing,
Totally. Did you
rather.
study classical guitar?
I never, that's probably the most surprisingly huge hole in my knowledge. Like, I studied classical music, but as far as, yeah, like classical guitar technique, like, I don't even know how to
Oh,
put it
me
on.
either,
Yeah.
no.
Oh, you
I
don't
kinda
know?
wish I had, but I never learned it at all.
Yeah. On the other knee, it's like,
Yeah.
what? I don't even know. I don't know how that even works. Yeah, like stopping the string with your finger. I mean, it's deep as hell. I just never.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's only so much time in a day,
Yeah.
But were you transcribing? I mean, this is thing is, even when I was getting into all that crazy downtown stuff, I was big on transcribing too. But it's like I was actually only transcribing like more straight ahead
Hmm.
stuff. Like I actually never. Did you actually transcribe like, I don't know, like Rebo stuff or Nels
Yeah,
stuff?
like,
Yeah.
I remember transcribing. I was really into Masada. I remember, like, transcribing, the melody so I could, like, play the tune with my band, because we didn't have charts for any of that stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was trying to transcribe. I remember starting to transcribe some stuff that was, like, less, um, in the traditional jazz repertoire or whatever, like, they were having us transcribe in school.
Yeah. Wait, but actually in school though, because you were talking about at Wesleyan, I don't remember straight ahead jazz
Oh,
being a big
sorry. I
thing.
I also took a year off and went to the new school. So maybe I
Right.
was thinking more about that. Yeah,
That's
at Wesleyan, they weren't they weren't having you transcribe any
no,
jazz.
like at all, like at all. I was just, yeah, like, oh, how, okay, wait a second. So you took a year off a different year
Yeah,
than,
so we actually were only in school together for 2 years because I went to the new school during my junior year.
right. And I went, okay, this makes sense because I'm like, man, we really should have hung more. But yeah, right.
Yeah. It was
And then
only freshman year and senior year that we were there
right,
together.
in my freshman year, I was just all fucked up and stuff, so it wasn't really so it's like, yeah, okay. It's all coming back. Right, the new school, right, so you were like so you get right, so that you had the good experience of getting annoyed by jazz, right?
Yeah.
You had to you had to get annoyed to springboard into the heavy
Yeah, I
metal.
mean, that was an interesting year because I basically went there so I could practice. Because at Wesleyan, we had so many academic classes. It was really hard to, like, carve out time to actually work on the guitar. So that's why I went there. So it was cool. I was, like, practicing constantly and then every night going to hear a show.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a was a cool year.
Yeah. You're from outside Boston, so you were seeing. I
Mhm.
mean, that's a sick jazz town too. I mean, as far as like when you were younger than that. I mean, you were going to see stuff, right? I mean,
Yeah, it's Boston's interesting. Like I feel like there should be more of a scene than there is, considering like how many musicians live there or have come through there.
yeah, right.
But there's not like that many spots. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I left Boston when I was 17, so I was never really a part of any scene there. But yeah, I remember, I mean, I used to go to the Regatta Bar and I saw like Freddie Hubbard there and Elvin Jones
Oh,
when I was
nice.
in high school. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah. Seeing greats and stuff. Well, so you knew Peter Evans though in high school, right? Like you, but like so there was.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
also met Peter in high school. You and Peter are probably the musicians I've known the longest,
that's so cool.
that I
That's
like
amazing.
still hang with. So
Yeah,
that's kind of cool.
yeah. Oh, that
But
rules.
yeah, Peter was also from suburban Boston, and we met at like a some kind of NEC program for high school kids or something. And then we stayed in touch. And then we actually did some of my first gigs I ever did were with Peter. Like when, on like break, we'd be back in Boston for the summer when we were in college, and we did a bunch of like jazz restaurant gigs together, which were pretty hilarious.
That rules.
Yeah.
Yeah. He sounds great on standards. I mean, unsurprising.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's cool it's cool when Peter's just doing like notes. Like
Yeah.
straight notes is just like as sick as when he's just doing, like the
Totally.
sound based stuff. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm always interested in what people were working on, what people have worked on, and like the digestion of the influences over the years and stuff. Do Yeah, I mean, like, do you like, because this is an interesting thing. I mean, just like the role of practicing to me. You still practice? I mean, you
Oh
must.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, like, because like I hear people who are just like they don't. Because
Yeah.
like I'll practice really hard. Like I'll write something that I can't play, and then I'll learn to
Hmm.
play it, and I'll practice forever on the thing. But as far as just like material, this is a very particular way of living. This is like
Yeah.
it's an existential thing
Yeah.
to have practice be part of your life permanently. Like are you are you working on stuff like when you practice now, right? Like what is it now? Do you just go in phases of?
It's kinda like big phases. I'll have, like, big goals of things I wanna chip away at. I mean, I'm always just like, 1, I'm trying to stay in shape on the instrument. Like, I feel like it's a little bit like running in that respect, of, like, if you don't do it every day, you can't then just, like, run a marathon.
Yeah.
So part of it is sort of, like, keeping up, um, just kind of facility on the guitar, but I mean, mainly I'm just like trying to get better at the guitar. So I'll figure out what I want to get better at, and then that'll be some larger goal, and then I'll just try to like chip away at it.
Yeah.
Or I'll do like a little bit. I do a little bit of like reading stuff every day. Like right now, I'm working on like sight reading chords, so I have like an exercise book to kind of sight read like 4-note chords on guitar, with actual notes, not like, C minor, something like
Right. No. Yeah. That's awesome. That's great. Yeah, I mean, it's funny because like classical guitar, it's like, right, neither of us have studied the technique of classical guitar, but this is
yeah.
classical guitar, skill set. I mean, just reading.
Yeah, trying to read or, trying to like I said, I work on tunes, and then, I actually what you said, I kinda relate to that, like, if you write something that's really hard to play, then that's what you're gonna be working on, and I've definitely done that too. I've written something that I'm like, "Why did I write this for myself?"
Yeah.
And then
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, because like I don't write. I mean, I write, like as you do, writing based on what you hear, not what falls under the fingers easily. Sometimes it might happen to
yeah.
fall easily under the fingers, but yeah, when you just want that note and you got your pinky's got to go do that like Tal Farlow shit like a mile away, yeah, you're like,
Yeah.
can I use an open string for this? Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
and I guess the other thing I work on is I play a lot of other people's music, so sometimes I'll have, like, a pile of music I'll need to learn, and if you're playing music, especially if you play music that's not written by guitar players, it can be pretty unintuitive sometimes, so, but I'll always, like, if something's challenging to play, I'll always, like, stop and try to work on it and try to, like, turn it into an exercise or something so I can like get better at whatever that thing is.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I enjoy practicing. So I
Yeah.
try to do it. I mean, I'm not like practicing hours a day. I mean, it also depends on what I have going on in my life at that time. But if I can get like 2 hours in, that's great.
Yeah. I feel like
What
2
about
hours.
you?
I don't I mean, I really nowadays I practice singing actually, I've been
Mhm.
with this new solo stuff I'm doing. It's like just baritone guitar and voice. I haven't made a record of any of this. Let's
Oh,
put
that's awesome.
it's new material. I think you would be into this stuff. I'm gonna make sure to make sure you hear it once
Yeah,
I've
I would love to hear it.
documented. But yeah, like stuff that's not songwriter stuff. It's like
Mhm.
minimal text, lots of melisma, repeated lines,
Amazing.
some improvising with the voice. So yeah, so I've just been shedding, like doing scales, singing and like playing unison with the guitar, just trying to like,
Great.
you know, I'll
Did you
do.
ever take vocal lessons, or are you totally self-taught with
Uh,
singing?
I totally self-taught, but practiced a lot.
Yeah.
Especially
Yeah, that I can tell.
with Seductive Sprigs, actually just trying to get that stuff. Uh, Matt and I practiced for about almost a year, like 10 months, memorizing and getting this stuff in tune.
Oh, man, I love that band.
And then we thank you. I mean, we played 2 shows and then sort of fell out, just stopped kind of being friends or working together.
Oh, no. That's a shame.
No, I mean, I don't love it, but that level of just like impractical, absurd human feats for like
Yeah.
very little payoff,
Totally.
at least pragmatically in the world, I kind of love that was the
Yeah.
deal. But yeah, like practicing, just getting that stuff in tune. But yeah, I mean, I'll get on some stuff with singing where it's like I'll just be like in a mode, right? Or I'll just do like a drone, just droning on like a D like octave or power chord or whatever, and then just singing. You're like in a mode, you're in like Phrygian. I'll just like sing like 3 intervals, and then in every combination, just be like 1 2 7 7 2 1 the 2
Mhm.
7 1, and just try to get that, and then be like 1 2 3 1 3 2 3 1 2, saying the intervals and singing it. Like I'll do that for like an hour or something.
That's awesome. That sounds really meditative
It
too.
is, yeah. I mean, that's the thing. I never took vocal lessons, but I'm always consulting trained singers
Mhm.
about what they do and like getting tips
Yeah.
and stuff.
I remember they had a South Indian vocal class at Wesleyan that I took one. Did you ever take that?
I did not.
That was super cool.
It's like, yeah, I know, going back, I totally would do that. Yeah, actually, I think that exercise I just said, I think is rooted in some kind of Indian musical
Mhm.
practice, I think. But do you go deep on Indian music in general?
No, I mean, just little, like, I've gotten little bits and pieces. Like, that was one thing that was cool about Wesleyan is they had like so much like world music stuff. So there were like, you would get like a little survey. It wouldn't be like a full class, but like a little survey of, some different musical tradition.
Yeah.
Um, so, they had the gamelan thing that was super cool. I didn't do much with that. And they had like a West African drumming thing. They had all kinds of cool, and you would just get like a little survey of it for maybe 5 weeks.
Yeah.
So I did some things like that, but no, I never did like a deep dive into Indian music.
I know, because that's just like, I feel like if there were more than 24 hours in a day, Indian
Right?
music would be the next stop
I
on
know.
the train. It's just there's too much. Yeah.
There's too much. Absolutely.
Yeah. But especially like vocally, I could get how's it vocal wise. I mean, something that I mean, you were like a singer back, or I mean, I don't know if you think of yourself as a singer, but you are a singer. I mean, back with
I never thought of myself as a
yeah,
singer.
not really, or like someone who does vocals. I mean, because with the duo with Jess, that's the thing back in the day, right? 2000s, we're rolling in
Yeah.
New York. You're doing the duo with Jessica Pavone. You're doing the duo with Kevin. People, you're like
Yeah.
singing in both of those groups. So
Yeah.
I always thought of you as like someone who kind of had that like rock person, a guitar player who's singing is part of the deal
Yeah.
kind of consistently. But do did you keep doing singing after that? I
No,
can't.
I haven't sung in years. I think, I think in my 20s I was really into this like art rock kind of thing of like not like purposefully bad singing, but like very unpolished, kind of weird singing. Um, so I think I was into that because I can't really, I'm not like a singer, and I don't practice it in a serious way like you do. It would be more like functional, like I want to hit this melody
Yeah,
with
yeah.
my voice. And so I enjoyed it for a while, but at a certain point, I was just like, you know what? I want to like, if I, or like I did the band with Amertha Code Girl. I was like, I want to have like a real singer, like
Yeah, yeah.
someone that can actually sing, and then I'll stick to the guitar. So I think at a certain point, I just stopped. I don't know if I stopped enjoying it or I just kind of like reached the limit of what I felt I could do. Um, so yeah, I haven't sung in many many years.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's another thing I was thinking with when I was like, trying to fill in my gaps of like, stuff that I hadn't checked out of yours, like brushing up for the podcast. I was like, what has Mary uh, dispensed with? I mean, I think about that with myself. Like just sometimes part of finding who you are. Sometimes it's additive, but sometimes it's subtractive, right? You find your
Yeah,
voice by being like,
totally.
you know what, I'm not doing this one thing anymore.
Is there something you feel you've dispensed with?
Well, for years, I kind of felt like I had dispensed with improvisation,
Hmm.
and I completely have not. And I wish that I had been doing more improvised music this whole time, But I mean, in a
But
way,
sometimes you need to get away from something.
you do. Yeah. I mean, like you said, you got away from standards for years,
Mhm.
um, even as you were like going deeper and deeper into improvisation, but you like
Right.
let standards go for a while. I mean, yeah, like I don't know. There's sometimes it's like, sometimes it's not even just elements, but like ways of thinking of oneself,
Mhm.
Like I mean, and that's changed for me too, but like for a while, especially in like 20s, I was just like, I just do one thing, and it's called
Mhm.
Extra Life, and it's a band, and it operates in a rock kind of context.
Mhm.
And that, that was like a decision of like, I'm this kind of guy who operates this way. So in a way, as
Mhm.
far as giving up stuff, I did kind of have this thing of like, I basically have given up doing improvisation except tiny little side things,
Right.
given up doing multiple collaborations.
Mhm.
Now I want to get back into all of that,
Yeah.
that entire MO of stuff. But for a while, yeah, I gave up. Yeah, that MO, the like highly collaborative improvising musician, Uh,
Yeah. Well, I think that's probably something we have in common is we're both, like, very singularly focused, so probably, like, going all in on whatever,
yeah.
you're thinking about at the time.
But you've always managed to stay prolific though with other. I mean, you've always had this stuff where you're like hitting one group really hard, but you seem like you've managed to always have collabs going though, and like shorter term things
Yeah.
and stuff. I mean, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to keep too many things going at once, but I definitely like to have a few things going at once. So, one of them or two of them would be like leader things, and then yeah, I like doing collaborations with people, and I actually really enjoy playing other people's music. Because I think that's when it's music that I really like playing, which it almost always is. Like I think I learn a lot too from like playing with other people and seeing what their process is and how they write music and um so the key is just like balancing all that stuff and we're not in our 20s anymore, so I also feel like I've had to cut back on stuff just to like stay sane.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
No.
No, I mean, even the stretching regimen I have every day, like that's like a band.
Yeah,
Like, what I'm
totally,
saying? The resistant band that
totally.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's another thing, playing other people's music. I gave that up for a while,
Mhm.
and but you learn so much from that.
Yeah.
What other yeah, what are you doing, side person work at the moment? I mean,
Yeah, like right now I'm doing I guess the things that are like active at the moment is I'm doing Tamika Reed's quartet and Chess Smith's quartet. Um, Myra Melford's band Fire and Water, we're about to do another record. Um, yeah, I guess as far as like things that have like shows and tours coming up and whatever, that's probably those are probably the main things that I'm doing as a side person.
yeah, yeah. Right on. You always have like the main band though, right? I mean, you always at any given moment, like Amaryllis is like the band,
Yeah.
right? That's like the main, right? And Code
Yeah, it's
Girl.
hard for me to focus on having too many leader things. So yeah, I usually try to focus on one, maybe two, at any given time.
Yeah, yeah. And like Code Girl is like, it's not like over, but it's no longer like the main thing that you're doing a bunch of records with. Is that
Yeah,
kind
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's not that I don't wanna do it or something, it's more just like I don't have the bandwidth. Yeah, and I'm focusing on Amaryllis, like you
of, yeah.
said.
Do you kind of like, this is, I mean, I think about this like, where it's like, I mean, genre isn't the right word, but like, type of MO for project, like something like Amaryllis, right? Like that was like a record that became a regular band, kind of, or is this the kind of thing where you're like, I'm going to try to do a record with X people. It's a project, and then it becomes a regular band, or do you decide like this is now the band? I'm going to make 10 records with this, like.
Definitely not that. Yeah, I mean, I usually just think like what's right in front of me. So I wanna do this record, I'm writing this music, I'm excited about it, we'll see how it goes. Like, "Oh, I really liked it. I love these musicians, and I really like the band, it has a good vibe, so, like, I have more stuff I wanna write, I'm gonna write another one." So it's really, like, one step at a time, like, I never think, like, "Oh, I gotta complete 10 records with this band or
Right,
something."
right, right. I mean,
Like,
that's a
right now, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Maybe I'll do another record with this band, maybe I won't, I haven't really figured it out.
yeah, 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 yeah. No, that's like, yeah, because that's a certain type of approach that, well, I guess like with, I mean, I guess people are down with that, right? I mean, it's like if you just do a record that's an awesome record with certain people, yeah, they don't necessarily expect that there's going to be more, right? It could just be like this awesome project that made a great record, and like that was the life of the thing. Like, so you're kind of, does that sometimes happen where you're like, yeah, you do something and it's awesome, but you're like, this is not the band now? I'm trying to think of
Um,
records. Like, you tend to make several records with each project,
I
right?
think I tend to, or like I had a trio. I had one group where I kept just adding people. So every time I would add, so it started as a trio, it ended as an octet. So just kind of adding a couple people each time. So that was kind of fun too, because it was like the same band, but then something new kind of thrown in there.
Was that the band with Johnny Bear and Chess, or no?
Mhm.
Yeah,
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 yeah, yeah, yeah. And then that became the octet, right? With like,
yeah.
is that Taylor Hobynum and Cass?
No, that was Jonathan Finlayson
Okay,
on
yeah, yeah,
trumpet.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Um, but yeah, that was really fun. Yeah, and then sometimes you just need something new. So I'm kind of deciding these things as I go.
yeah. I mean, writing for the larger groups seems like, I mean, is that a whole different psychology? Because like, I mean, you've got very like, I mean, what you're doing, at least with Amaryllis, like that's very, you're like really, trying to gotta say this. There's like a lot of counterpoint and like the thickness, like you just like really maximizing use of the whole, uh, just the size of the group is like
Yeah,
very, very used. Like it seems like I hear the thought, like you're very much thinking in these like big ensemble terms. It seems like you're doing
yeah.
all kinds of stuff with that you like just wouldn't. It uh it seems like you'd have a different, like you must have a different headspace for that than with writing for smaller groups, or is it basically the same psychology? Like,
I mean, I guess it's pretty different. Like, yeah, I'm really into. I love writing for larger groups, or I guess I guess you could call 6 people a larger group.
I
Like
think that's big. Yeah,
practically speaking, it's a lot.
yeah,
Taking 6 people on the road is a lot. But yeah, I think about it really like layering. Like a lot of the way I'm writing this stuff is like layering. Like start with a guitar part, add in a bass part, add in a trumpet part, add in a harmony part on trombone, layer in like more harmony with vibraphone. So yeah, I kind of think of a lot of it like layering. So it's fun when you have like that many people because there's just more possibilities.
yeah. You start with guitar on that though. I mean, that's,
Normally,
yeah,
like I don't really have like a set method for it, but I always start writing on guitar. So like more often than not, that's going to be the guitar part. But sometimes I write something on guitar and then transfer it to, maybe it's a trumpet part or maybe it's a bass part or.
yeah,
But
because
I'm using the guitar to compose, I guess. You compose on guitar too, I would imagine, or do you
uh
compose on piano?
yeah, it's kind of changing on the new Extra Life I'm doing. There's actually jams where they actually play piano the whole time, and it's written on piano.
Oh, wow, that's
But
awesome.
But this time, I mean, I'm always zigzagging around how I write stuff. Cause like, I'm
Mhm.
with that Extra Life, it's like song based. So the lyrics always are done beforehand. They determine
Yes.
so much about it.
I
Uh,
had the same method when I was writing. I never really understood writing the song first and then adding lyrics.
I
Like, it
can, yeah,
always yeah, it always makes more sense to me, like, if you have the lyrics first, you know what it's about, you know what the mood is, you know what the it kinda dictates the shape of the whole thing.
yeah, yeah. And I mean, even the rhythmic, aspects. I mean, that's the thing. Like, I mean, yeah, writing music with lyrics and text and voice is just, it's so different.
Yeah,
And I'm
totally.
moving, not away from it in general, but I'm like really psyched to do projects that don't have the voice or
Yeah.
only use melisma, aren't doing like song.
Mhm.
Cause, but yeah, I mean, that's like something with Code Girl. This is the thing. I mean, I was, when that band was happening, I was aware of the music, but I actually never really dug deep in the lyrics. Like, I never
Mhm.
was like reading it until brushing up for this, and I was like, what is the lyrical vibe? And I mean, this is like, you're serious about writing. I mean, this is, you're writing poems. I mean, these are like really, really, really great lyrics, and they're very like,
Thank you.
they're not like accidentally great. I mean, like you clearly no, like, 'cause sometimes stuff it's just like, oh wow, that happens to be sick. But you clearly are like a poet. I mean, right? Or I mean, do you consider
I
yourself?
mean, I think, I don't think I'm a poet, and it was like that process to me was kinda agonizing because, like, writing music, I kinda know what that is, and I have, like, processes and tools and, a way I know I can go about it. But writing lyrics, I kind of had no clue. So it was this really haphazard, like, the amount of, like, time I spent and revisions and agonizing over the whole thing and, like, maybe that's why I didn't do another record 'cause it was, like, exhausting.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I enjoyed it, but it was like, again, it's with that focus thing. I was like, "I'm gonna be totally focused on doing this," and then I kinda gave it everything I had.
Yeah.
And then I was exhausted, and then writing the music was kind of the fun part after I had
Yeah.
the words done.
Wait, is there only one Code Girl record? Do I
There's 2.
It's two, yeah, because like,
Yeah.
yeah, the one, I mean, I only know one, but you wrote the lyrics for both?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and one of them is a double record, so it's actually I guess I was writing a lot of words at that time, and I
Yeah.
haven't since. Maybe I got it out of my system.
Yeah, because that's interesting for I know it takes a long time. And yeah, my writing lyrics, it's not even a lot of text quantity wise, but yeah,
Right.
it's agonizing. It's no less agonizing for someone like me who's like does it a lot and it's a big part of what I do and I consider myself a lyricist.
Right.
It's equally as time sucking
Well, that's
as,
comforting to hear.
as what you described. Like it's the
Right.
what I mean? But But I was just struck checking out the lyrics, just how great they are, and just how it's like I don't know, like, but so you don't write poetry aside from you just did those? Like, is
I
that
mean,
like,
I would write kinda small poems. I did that a little bit in college for fun, and me and Jessica Pavone would write lyrics on occasion. Um, Kevin Shea wrote, like, 95% of the lyrics in People, but I wrote a couple of them. So it's something I kind of, like, I would say, like, dabbled with, up until that point. But then I was like, I wanna just do this, like, write an album where I wrote a bunch of lyrics. But it
yeah.
wasn't something I had ever approached in, like, any kind of an organized way before.
Yeah, I remember the lyrics for, People and for the duo with Jessica having a very cryptic, detached
Mhm,
kind of, uh, like, not personal, feeling vibe,
mhm.
and the stuff for Code Girl that I was reading seemed a little it's still cryptic and mysterious, but it had a little bit more presence or something, like, it had a little more, I don't know, it felt, like, personally, emotionally invested or something
Right, right.
in a
Yeah, I guess that's for me, it's like trying to find a balance of that because I enjoy the cryptic thing. But yeah, also having it not be random, having it mean something or be about something.
yeah. Yeah, it
Um,
clearly seemed yeah, there's not a random vibe to it,
yeah,
that's
because yours feel quite personal, your lyrics.
Oh yeah, yeah. I try to get less. I'm trying to get less personal, but just life keeps coming. You know,
Well, that's good.
life, death. It's just like, okay, we're gonna do this again. All right. But yeah, like, yeah, it's a question of room. You leaving
Mhm,
room for people or not. You get too
mhm,
specific and personal. The more personal you get, uh it gets relatable to people, but then it
mhm.
can also be kind of like there's less room for them, right? You get more cryptic.
Right.
You're like grabbing them less, but you're letting them enter. You're giving them a little say almost.
Exactly,
You're like
exactly.
collaborating with the listener or whatever. But you're writing for Amertha to sing though. I mean, this is like, yeah, was that, did you consider, were you writing this stuff? Okay. Concept is you're working with a vocalist, you're working with Amertha, then you
Mhm.
write the lyrics, or were you writing these lyrics and then you were like, what am I going to do with them?
No, I wrote them for her, and as I was writing them, I was kinda singing them myself, just to make sure that they sounded somewhat natural, on with a voice. And then I would give them to her, so it was, like, very specific, notated melodies with lyrics, and then she would, do her thing with it, like, she would elaborate on it and kind of add stuff, but she's amazing to work with because she would ask a lot of questions, she took it very seriously, like, she wanted to make sure, she would put her thing on it, but at the same time was basically singing exactly what I wrote, and also wanted to know what they were about, and she put a lot into that,
Yeah.
but then was able to sing them and like transform them in a way that like I wouldn't have been able to do if
Yeah.
I was singing.
Yeah. 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 Totally. It's cool. Yeah. Hearing you say that you write the lyrics first because it's someone who doesn't, yeah, a lot of the time people who aren't about lyrics first and foremost, yeah, would tend to write the music first and then put lyrics to it.
I mean, I
Um,
think that's how most people write songs, is
uh,
write the song first and add the lyrics, or I feel like I don't
I
know.
don't think I don't think so at all. I mean, well,
No?
most people in what realm? I mean, I don't.
Yeah,
No,
I wonder if you polled people that are like singer-songwriter kind of people, like what percentage would have the words written first? Or maybe some people do them kind of at the same time.
yeah,
I
I
don't
would.
know.
I expect most people write the words first, but not. I'm not sure. I
Well, I
kind of.
guess the reason I say it is 'cause some people have asked me before, and were surprised that I wrote like, people tend to be surprised that I wrote the word first.
Yeah. Well, I think maybe that's because, yeah, that's the thing. I think maybe just because if you're known as an instrumentalist, you know, and working in, like, this is the thing. It's like genres. They don't exist, but we live with them
Yeah.
in some weird way. It's like race. It's like real, but it's not real, but it's like, but you're fucking living with it, you know?
Right, right.
Yeah, like, 'cause, like, there's a difference. I mean, I think people probably perceive singing super differently when it's considered to be within, like, jazz,
Mhm.
even though, you know, like, it's just weird, like, just knowing that you've been bringing stuff that is, like, completely not jazz in with your stuff from the very beginning as a core. You've got core elements of what you're doing that are not jazz, but I
Mhm.
think maybe people perceive stuff, there's still, like, even if the vocal stuff is, like, not coming from any kind of jazz thing, it's like
Right.
people maybe just experience it. They, like, assume that you write the words first because 'cause you're, like, an instrumentalist. This is
Right.
jazz music or new music or whatever, like, maybe that's where the assumption comes from or something,
Mhm.
just some, like, projecting of, like, a genre idea or whatever. Um,
Totally.
yeah, but, but you don't have an ambivalent relationship with the word jazz though, right? I mean, you said with the canon at early on, you kinda did, but, like, yeah.
Yeah, I don't it's like, I kinda take all this stuff with a grain of salt, like, people get really worked up about whether something's jazz or it isn't, and I really don't care, like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
if people wanna categorize my music that way, that's fine, if they wanna call it some like, I understand you need to, like, put the album somewhere in a record store,
Right, right.
but yeah, I'm not too bothered by it, like, I think it's a really loaded word for a lot of people, and I don't know, I mean, I don't really, like, consider myself a jazz player, I consider myself, like, influenced by jazz.
Yeah.
and I love jazz, so it's not really like an issue for me if how people wanna what people wanna call it or how they wanna categorize it, like,
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
too bothered, I guess.
Yeah. No, it's interesting because, like, yeah, like, not having an opinion is an opinion. That's a position, you know?
Yeah,
It's like,
I
it's
guess
interesting,
so.
like, you know, like, not like, that's, like, not caring. That's, like, good information, I feel like, for people to know. Because, like, do people still care about? Because I kinda checked out of the thread of jazz a while ago, so I'm
Mhm.
still remembering what it meant to, like, play jazz when I was kinda younger, and I don't it's changed over the past 20 years, probably the culture of what the way people even think of that word, and
Yeah,
you have it probably influenced how people perceive it, you know, because, like, I don't
right.
know, like, I bet there's people out there, even people listening, who are like, when you said you don't consider yourself a jazz player, I bet you there are people watching this who were just like, "What?" Like,
Right.
if ever there was a jazz player, right? You know, like
Yeah.
downbeat poles and stuff. But,
Well, I'm kind of in this weird in between thing, I think, where, probably people that, like, play more traditional straight ahead jazz think that my music is super weird, and then there's probably people that play, like, really weird experimental avant-garde stuff that think I'm super straight ahead. So
yeah,
I think I kind of operate in this in between world, which I'm totally cool with.
yeah,
But yeah, I think that's kind of why I think, people just have such a different perspective on what things are, like I'm sure some people find what I do totally unlistenable and other people find it totally, just like boring regular music. It really depends on your perspective.
yeah. No, totally. I mean, I think sometimes I don't know how much it matters, but something like labels, I don't know. I'm not like a no tangent into music business stuff. But like this none such is such a sick label. I think
Mhm.
in a way that contextualizes to me an artist. That's a label where, like, if an artist is on it, it's kind of being like, this isn't just jazz. This is like music. There's like a very holistic.
Totally.
Right.
And actually
Right.
that was really important to me. And that's part of why I love that label is like they're not trying to put me in a jazz box or, I think they love music of all kinds and they're just excited about all different kinds of music. So to me, that was nice to not because I really try to not get pinned down into one thing or another because I want to do a lot of different things. And I might be doing something like totally different, in a couple of years. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think music that's totally instrumental and has like extended stuff where the people's personalities as instrumentalists are uh, central to the music.
Mhm.
To me, that has a jazz uh, essence to it, even if it
Totally.
doesn't swing or even if it's not jazz harmony or,
Mhm.
so there's like, that's the thing with genres. It's like, there's this, I feel like there's certain stuff that even if it isn't jazz, like people who come out of jazz are like primed to be able to listen in a certain way,
Yeah, for sure.
like just to be able to, like, if you're following, just to follow a soloist or whatever,
Mhm.
Um, but then again, you've got so much stuff where the amount of composition is way greater than a jazz, your typical jazz thing would be, and you're not
Yeah.
taking a million solos. I mean, there's actually
Mhm.
like relatively few like extended burning like guitar solos on the new record. So I
Mhm.
guess I don't know, maybe that is a different listening process for people. I'm not sure. I don't know. Different music asks different things of the listener, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, what like you're talking about the fall, you got stuff coming up. I'm looking at yeah, like what are you doing solo? I mean, Amaryllis gigs in the fall? You do, right? You're doing like
Mhm. Yeah, that's the next thing I have is we're doing like a US tour. So I think it's just like a week and a half, but we're doing like a Midwest, and then a Northeast leg. Um, so yeah, that's what I'm kind of getting ready for at the moment. And
sick.
I've written and sort of rearranged. I've written a couple new things. I don't like just playing the same thing show after show after show. So I kind of get restless and I need to have something new. And we have a pretty long European tour in the fall as well. So I wanted to have some new stuff. So I've written some new stuff, and then partly So I had the octet project that I had with, my friend Susan Alcorn, who
Yeah.
sadly passed away in January. Did you know Susan at
Rest in
all?
peace. Not personally. I saw her play once with you
Mhm.
and once solo, and I've never seen anything like that.
Right?
Never heard. I could not believe how deep
Yeah,
Susan
she was
Alcorn was.
an unbelievable improviser
I
and
saw her do
musician.
some solo set. I guess no, I saw her do a solo set at that festival that you curated that you had 7 Tears on.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Yes,
I yeah.
Wels in Wels, Austria.
In Bells, yeah, so I was over there playing with 7 Tears.
Mhm.
Thanks for having us on that festival.
Yeah, I love that band.
Yeah, thank you. But yeah, that was a great festival. But yeah, she
Mhm.
played solo and, like, I don't right? I mean, I think it was
Yeah.
at right,
Yep,
with
she did play solo.
and it was like, yeah, it was just this, like, out free improvisation going into, like, arrangements of Wagner, like, she was doing some, like,
Yeah.
arrangements of like, parts of the Ring Cycle, I think, and yeah, I mean, it was just like this kaleidoscope of just the history of like deep music just condensed.
Yeah, she was super special. Um, but anyway, she played in my octet, and I had a bunch of music that I had written for that never got recorded, that we performed it a few times. And then when she died, I was like, wow, I'm never gonna. I think somewhere in my head I thought I was gonna play that music again at some point. Um, but then she died, and I kind of realized, I'm not gonna do that group again. I can't really replace her in that group.
Yeah.
So I took a bunch of that music and I rearranged it for Amaryllis almost as like a tribute to her. So I've been thinking about her a lot because I've been working on that. So I have maybe 4 pieces that never got recorded for my octet, which have now been kind of translated into something a little different. So that's been interesting to work on, but also kind of heavy.
Yeah, I mean, you were like really close friends too, right? I mean, it was sort of more than just like playing, right? I mean, you were kind of like, right?
Yeah, I mean, we were friends. I mean, she lived in Baltimore, so she wasn't like somebody I saw on a daily basis or anything, but we were definitely in touch, and yeah, she was super cool.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, if people are listening who don't know Susan Alcorn, I mean, she's, pedal steel player, which is really like, I mean, it's a rare to be able to work that into all these different contexts too. I mean, it's like you're just blending so well in your group. I mean, it's
Yeah,
like
she has a lot of cool records. I would say if you wanna check out something, her solo record where she's playing Astor Piazzolla covers is pretty phenomenal.
yeah.
Soledad, I think it's called.
Is that she had a whole record of Astor Piazzolla? Is that because I remember she
It's
did some of that.
amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
when
she
I
probably did some of that in the solo gig.
yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that's crazy to do a whole record like that. Yeah, like, yeah, yeah, music from that rearranged for Amaryllis.
Mhm.
Yeah, you gotta, keep new material happening, keeping it fresh.
Yeah, I tend to do that, like, and actually with Amaryllis, the goal is kind of just have so much music that if we have, like, 2 long sets, we won't have to repeat anything.
Yeah, yeah,
So I
yeah.
think now we're at that point because we have 3 records plus all this new stuff. So then I can kinda go in and choose. So I think, the shows are gonna be like a mix of all kinds of different stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, that rules. Oh, by the way, side thing, if anyone wants to ask questions in the comments, please do. I can't guarantee that we will address the questions. They have to be good questions. But, yeah, have at it. Have at it. Yeah. Yeah, you've been, yeah, wait, so I wanna get back to practicing. I wanna get back to the shed. I wanna get back to the shed. Um,
It's funny, so I just taught at this, alternative guitar summit camp, which was in, like, near Woodstock, and, they had a lot of different guitar players there, and so I attended pretty much all of the other guitar players' master classes and things like that, which was really cool because I haven't gotten a chance to do something like that for a long time. Um, and, get to see, like, I got to Kurt Rosenwinkel was there, and he went through his whole, like, warm-up thing, like, what he does to warm up on guitar, which was fascinating. And people have such different things that they do. I really so that was it was really enjoyable just to see what people work on and what they practice.
Yeah. 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 What it's like for like what level of student is there? Is this like advanced like
All sorts. Yeah, it's more, it's I've never been around that many guitar players at once, right? I don't know how long. There are probably like 60, 70 people attending, all levels, all ages. So it was interesting.
alternative guitar, like it's for out there stuff, or I mean, or is that the idea, or no?
Mm, it could be anything. They had like a lot of jazz players and some players that are a little bit more left of center. So I think it was kind of jazz focused, but with a bunch of different stuff.
Were you the most out, or like what was the if you could quantify that?
Probably, I would say probably me and Anthony Parag was there too.
Okay.
He
Yeah,
was
yeah, yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was really fun, and yeah, just seeing how people approach it. Yeah, it had been a long time since I'd like been around that much guitar-y stuff. So I
Yeah.
guess I've been like thinking about that a lot.
So this is, yeah, like, because I want to do Rick Beato level. I want that Beato style here. We're not actually sitting with our guitars, but so what did you tell them? This is a good, I mean, not the, like just a taste. Like, what would you like at the Guitar Summit, right? Like they were
I
like,
mean, I went through something that I talked about was writing your own exercises on guitar, which is something I've done a lot historically. Some of them are more like warm-ups, just like little things to warm up before a gig that I still do. Kind of the same ones. That's almost like a ritual type of thing where I have these things that I've made up that I just run through if I'm trying to warm up my hands for a gig or something. But also the idea of just like writing an exercise, like almost like what you were saying, if you write something that's difficult, to just like work on that, but like you could turn that into an exercise, or if you play something you think is kind of cool or unique to you, instead of skimming over it, like really sitting with it and trying to turn it into something. Like for example, I like to play a lot of open strings. When I play, like just hit open strings randomly, almost in the middle of a line, like almost more as an accent than as part of the line.
yes,
So how did I develop that? I like made it into a bunch of exercises and just like spent like days, months, just working on incorporating that like very small, simple idea into what I do. So I talked about like doing things like that of, like finding things that are unique to you and just trying to extract as much as you can out of
yeah.
them.
Yes, yes, yes. No, that's awesome. I know exactly what you're talking about language-wise in your music. I mean, it's that.
Yeah.
I mean, people who know you're playing know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, totally.
yeah, yeah. It was interesting though when you say almost at random. Like that's always an interesting thing. Like kind of like because nothing's totally random in the sense that you are thinking, but you're not doing the math on what that is, what the open string is
Right.
like harmonic wise, right? You're just thinking of it as accent, right? Like,
Yeah, I guess I should clarify because that's very different because random, like it's also intentional. Like I want to like, you know, obviously we fuck up sometimes. We intend to play one thing and something else comes out, but my goal is to like have enough control and facility on the instrument that I know exactly what I'm going to play. So if I play something super weird and fucked up sounding, it's on purpose. It's not because like I
yeah,
tried to execute one thing
right,
and
right.
messed up and got this other thing. That being said, great things come out of mistakes and,
Also, yeah,
whatever. But I think for me, with playing, I think intentionality is really important. And just like if you're going to like go for some crazy idea, like boom, go for it with confidence. Don't like whisper it.
yeah, 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 for sure. But that open string thing though, like I know it. I know what you mean. Where it's like kind of you're thinking of them as an extraneous element or like a separate, right? You're like doing
Right. Like if I'm hitting an open B, I'm not thinking about it as like, how does it relate to, the C minor that I'm playing? Like I'm not thinking like, oh, I'm hitting the major seventh. I'm
right.
using it almost like a little attack or um yeah.
Yeah, 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 totally. Yeah, because you have a different timbre with the open string. So
Exactly.
if
That's
that,
what I like, is that
if
it
that,
sounds different than the other notes.
yeah. And that's a very, that's another thing, like just being like a very guitar player. That's something that you like
Mhm.
do. Um, that's specific to guitar, right? That's not like oh, I transcribed the horn players and I play exactly like a horn. Cause that's something you do right early on, right? Like
Yeah.
getting into jazz, there's always like this, like, there's a lot of playing the guitar, not like a guitar
Right,
when you're
exactly.
learning how to play, transcribe horn players, like whatever, but then you get into
Then at
open
a certain
string.
point, you have to embrace the guitar. I definitely went through a hating the guitar phase. I don't know if you did. Like, probably in college, I was just like, "Ugh." But then you have to embrace it at a certain point and be
Yeah, I
like,
mean,
"Yeah, it's
yeah,
the
you embrace
guitar."
the hell out of it. I keep re-embracing. I never got into hating the guitar, but I definitely got into like not identifying. I got into like not identifying as a guitar player.
Right. Right,
In
right.
a sense, I mean, and that's even lasted. I do move in and out of that, but
Yeah.
like with Extra Life, I mean, I am kind of just like I'm not a guitar player, so it's obviously not rejecting the guitar because I'm playing a ton of guitar in it, but
Right.
it is kind of like I'm not up there as a player,
Yeah,
I'm
but
a
you're also composing and singing and
composing
playing keys
singer,
and
band guy, yeah, it's not so, but I'm kind of surprised to hear you say you actually like were hating the guitar, but that's like when you're so deep in something that you actually hate it. I mean, that's
yeah.
when you're like a real guitar player when you're just like, I don't like this anymore, yeah. But yeah, that the open string thing being so yeah, like okay, so like writing, I'm interested in this because this is you as a teacher, and you don't teach a ton, right? That's not like a big part of your life.
Not a ton. I teach actually at the new school. I teach a couple ensembles.
Oh, so you do, okay.
So I do that. But it's a pretty minimal amount of teaching. But I have great students there, and I generally really enjoy it when I have good groups, which is almost all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. But you're like ensemble coaching. Like you don't have a bunch of like
Mhm.
private one-on-one students where you're like,
Not a ton. I have some private students through the school, and they're not always guitar players.
right on.
Usually they're guitar players, but sometimes they play other instruments, which is kind of cool too. So sometimes we'll do just like more general like composition stuff or improvisational stuff, but sometimes it's not even guitar specific.
Yeah. 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 Yeah, making your own exercises is sick. That's a very cool, like based on your own language. You're based on things that you notice about your own
Yeah.
playing, right?
I think that's yeah, I think it's really important to do. I mean, I like exercise books too. Like I'm not saying like don't use exercise books because there's some really cool ones actually, but like yeah, just also trying to like I think thinking for yourself is really important. Like I think one of my problems with trying to learn jazz is that I didn't really relate to the way it was being taught, or my brain wasn't like processing these things in the same way. Like I almost had to like take a step back and figure out like how I understand it and how is my brain processing it and how can I learn it in a way that makes sense to me. Um, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I think in a way it's like it's good to get a ton of information and study with people and things like that, but you might study with someone and maybe you love the way they play and you get nothing out of the lessons. You might just not relate to that. So I think just like sometimes you have to find your own way to do it.
Yeah. 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 Totally. Yeah. With jazz, learning jazz, like jazz ed, jazz education, like the normal kind of stuff we had as kids, it's like, yeah, it's weird. Like, uh, there's this always this idea that you're supposed to develop your own style, and yet the way it gets taught doesn't seem to be conducive to that sometimes. It's like you're supposed to find your own thing, but then there's this way that like you're supposed to jump through. There's so many specific hoops that you're supposed to be able to jump through. It
Yeah.
almost like gets in the way of.
Yeah, kind of it's often taught as like as an end, not as a means. I think that's what kind of sucked the life out of it for me for a period of time. It felt like rules and this and that and following and trying to play only these notes and this thing. Like it felt too um something to me. I don't know. I needed a break. But it's not that.
Yeah.
Like it's not that. And I do understand it's important to learn. And this is a very Braxtonian thing I'm sure you can relate to, but he had like great reverence for so many musical traditions and then he would just like do whatever the fuck he wanted.
Yeah.
So I think like taking that lesson of being like, yeah, I want to learn the stuff and I want to understand how it's being taught and how people are using it. And then if I want to use some of it, great. If I want to change it, great. If I want to throw it all out, like I think just, not thinking of any of it as like a should or a have to.
Yeah, totally. I mean, being able to, I often think about how, I mean, I think people our age kind of like brought this back, sort of dialed this back, or sort of there's a course correction or something. But I do remember like having this sense growing up that that you had to, there's just certain stuff you had to be able to know how to do to even
Mhm.
step into a thing even relating to jazz. That
Right.
that even if your stuff had really very little to do with playing fast on chord changes, that you
Mhm.
have to be able to play fast on hard chord changes,
Right.
or else you just shouldn't be there, you know?
Right.
I feel like, I don't know, people of our generation that did a certain amount of correction to that notion, or,
Mhm.
like, whereas maybe for like 70s, 80s, maybe for a while, there was this sense that you had to just jump through every hoop in order to even like be in the conversation of jazz,
Right.
you know?
Right.
Meanwhile, if you go further back, could Thelonious Monk, could he burn on like quarter note equals 300? Like, no,
No. Yeah.
like even on Giant Steps, the guys other than Train are not
Yeah,
really
yeah,
crushing,
totally.
It's like, because you weren't expected to be able to do that. So yeah, but I do, yeah, I still think of these things of just like, I don't know, these issues of like legitimacy that just become completely irrelevant when you become an
Mhm.
actual artist. But like, what, like, just, yeah, what we thought when we were young, like you're supposed to do, what you like have to do.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of pressure, I think, because 'cause you're being told to do things a certain way. I mean, that's why I feel lucky I had cool teachers, because I had teachers telling me, like, "Do whatever you want," but I don't think that's necessarily what everybody was getting, you know?
Right. Yeah, you lucked out, I mean, in that way. But yeah, I mean, like being able to practice, like having a life of practicing, that's something just from the jazz tradition. I think that is just like a super deep. It's not even a genre thing, but it's like a
Mhm.
like a way of being a musician.
Yeah, I
That
mean, I think
that
it's just when you're, like, a creative person, like, you should never feel that, like, you've arrived, you know what I mean?
yeah,
Like, you're just always, like I remember I think it was the documentary about Bill Frisell, he described practicing as chipping away at a block of wood your
yeah,
whole life, and I thought that was so awesome because that to me, that totally describes it. It's like you're always trying to, like, learn and evolve and get better, like, otherwise, what's the fun of it, you know? Like, I
yeah.
think the fun of it should be, like, um, discovering new things and trying new things and
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
you're like building who you are, when you
yeah,
like you're
and that
like,
changes.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, the idea of language, just like having your own language, even though you're speaking and with other people, but it's developing your own
Mhm,
thing. I mean, I feel like uh there's something, yeah, there's something that you don't that I'm sure it exists in all genres or traditions, but there is something specific to jazz, I think, where you're like, I'm working on who I am. It's not
mhm,
just like I'm trying to get good at something. You're like becoming more unique by practicing
right.
certain things. Frisell, that's so Midwestern, the wood, the chopping of the wood, I'm like, that would just not be my,
That wouldn't have been your analogy.
go-to metaphor. I love that. It's awesome.
Yeah, what would yours have been? I'm trying to think what your equivalent metaphor would be.
Oh, I don't know. It's I'll do some
Be something way darker.
I'll do some, yeah, some perverse self-deprecating riff on this now, like, whatever. But, yeah, yeah, Frisell, that's I was bummed that I was not able to be there for the roulette for the you
Oh,
and
yeah.
Frisell. Yeah, that was great. Yo, I mean, this is crazy to me. I did not I before you put that record out with him, I was not familiar with Johnny Smith at all. I just was not, like, were you aware of, I mean, tell people what's up with that. I mean, because I
So
I was not even familiar with Johnny Smith as a young player. I mean,
yeah, which is I neither was I. I think it's actually really interesting, like, he was so under the radar, like, somebody played me Johnny Smith, like, in my late 20s, and I was like, "What the fuck? Like, how did I not know about this?" But
yeah.
I would say, like, most people don't know about him still. Like, he was pretty under the radar, like, he didn't do that many records, um, his most famous record is Moonlight in Vermont with Stan Getz, which is a super cool record. And I mean, he did do records, but like, I think he lived in New York for a while, and then he moved back to Colorado, where he was from, and was kind of had a more low key existence. Like, I think he didn't want to be like touring all the time. But yeah, when I heard him, it just like, to me, that's like, yes, this is how like jazz guitar should sound. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And Frisell actually studied with him.
I see.
He was a teenager, because Frisell grew up in Colorado and actually got to meet him and take some lessons with him, which is pretty cool. So he definitely, for him, I think Johnny Smith was formative. But yeah, I mean, so many people don't know about him. So definitely worth checking out. Like, it's super, the way he plays is like, I think what I love about it is it's very like angular and intervallic, but also it's like perfectly inside the tune. Like, it's very inside and outside at the same time. And he plays these crazy cluster voicings. Like, he had these enormous hands. So I love his chordal style, but also just his line playing is pretty ridiculous.
Okay. Yeah. Deep. I mean, this, yeah, just to fill folks in. I mean, this is, Johnny Smith was, Mary and Bill Frisell made a record. It's Girl with the Flaxen Hair, right? Is the name of that?
Made with the Flaxen Hair.
Yeah. Made the Flaxen Hair. Yeah. Yeah. Like tribute to Johnny Smith, unsung guitar. Great. Yeah. Was that how you connected with Frisell originally? Was like, that's the project that you did, right?
Yeah. But I mean, I knew him already. That was actually, that album is on Zodic, John Zorn's label. And that was actually Zorn's idea, because he knew that we both love Johnny Smith and he loves Johnny Smith. And he was like, why don't you guys do this? And I was like, yeah, I would love to.
Oh, that's awesome. Zorn kind of, he kind of operated as, like a manager or like a label, old-fashioned label head with a deep idea for a collab. That's sick. Yeah. Because you and Frisell, that's like, it's like such different playing, but I think of you also as very similar types of artists, even though the actual, like, you know what I mean? Like, just being very roots in jazz, but in all these other completely non-jazz things and composers, like, just this well-balanced kind of eclecticism, but then I don't know, sound-wise, it's like a really cool contrast, you and Bill, I think. I mean, just
I mean, he's like one of my heroes. I love his playing so much.
Yeah, me too.
So it was amazing for me to get to do that. But yeah, his sound is, I mean, everybody tries to emulate his sound and nobody can quite do it,
Yeah. You didn't fall into that. You never had a ripping off Bill phase.
No, I'm proud to say I did not.
It's hard to avoid that. It's like
it is hard.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like he is like, because he's got his whole, the envelope is almost different. It's like swelling in from, I mean, whatever. Not that that's how he plays in the project with you, but like, I think of him as like the effects, volume pedal, the swelling, and you're very like, you're known for pick. For the pick,
totally.
Totally. Yeah. No, it's so sick, you and Frisell. It's like, Johnny Smith is like, I only checked him out a little bit, just like from that record, and that was a while ago, and I never even dug super deep into him. So with the record with Stan Getz is the one to check out, or
it's pretty awesome. I mean, there's a bunch. He has a solo record called Man with the Blue Guitar, which is pretty cool. There's one I really like called Easy Listening, which is a hilarious title.
is it like
I think a trio thing, which is awesome. I mean, yeah, you can definitely find, it's easy to find like several different records of his, but Moonlight in Vermont is a good place to start, because that's where he takes these perfect little 8/16 bar solos.
Yeah, that's like, this is like 60s or like 50s even. Are we talking
late 50s? Now I feel like I need to look it up. I think it was late 50s. Let's see. Yeah, 56.
That's wild. It's so, it's kind of like, it's kind of insane that there'd be such a jazz, like someone who's so legendary on the instrument that you wouldn't even hear until your late 20s, and I wouldn't even hear until
Yeah.
my like late 30s. You
Yeah.
know, before it's just like, all right, where was I guess.
I mean, it's amazing. There's just so much music out there that like it's so easy to miss things, and we're always going to be missing things. You know, I have like huge holes in my knowledge of music, and yeah, it's just how it's going to be.
Yeah. Also, you know, our age, we came up right before everything was available, right?
Exactly.
So it was like I had a tape, someone dubbed that Jim Hall 1970, whatever, that trio record that's live with like Don Thompson or whatever. I don't know. It was like, did you know that record, that Jim Hall trio live? It's like
I don't know if I know the live one, but I love Jim Hall. That's
he
my
does,
other like
I
favorite jazz guitar guy.
I figured, yeah, I figured. Yeah. Yeah, he does Angel Eyes and like St. Thomas and stuff. But it's like I don't know. It's
Mhm.
just like this thing that was like just to think it's like one of my favorite jazz records, and like you couldn't find it. And it was just my teacher at the time just like had it, dubbed the vinyl
Oh
onto it.
yeah, totally.
Stuff like that. It's just like, yeah, like
Yeah, I was taking stuff out from the library, like CDs out from the library, and like trading mixtapes, like cassette tapes with friends. And yeah, that was just how you heard. You couldn't just like access everything.
yeah, that was fun. It was fun to find out that way. All right. So corny, I mean, it's not corny, but just like normie questions for the heads, for merry heads who maybe, like want some basic, like top guitar records, guitar influences, like what's just like essential. Someone wants to just like,
I mean, for guitar, I mean, we have to put Hendrix,
right. Yeah.
um, Johnny Smith for sure. I mean, for me, Wes Montgomery was really formative,
Yeah. Same. Yeah.
um, for like jazz guitar. I don't know. I mean, I have to put yeah, you have to put Frisell.
Yeah. Frisell way up there. I mean, yeah, for anyone, yeah, like starting off in jazz, like Wes is such a great, like,
Yeah, that was the first jazz guitar player I ever heard.
yeah. Cause it's like changes, but then he's got the blues, the straight blues elements in there. So you can kind
Yeah.
of,
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Joe Morris, who was my teacher, is phenomenal
yeah,
guitar
totally.
player.
I hear that 1,000,000%. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. 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 Yeah, he's kind of underrated, even though
Totally.
he's legendary, but also underrated, like both.
Yeah, people that know about him know that he's insane.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, like, yeah, I mean, that's what did he, well, I mean, not like you can recap all this stuff, but like, I mean, some of these like players. I mean, would you like transcribe Joe Morris? That's difficult, right? I mean, that
I
would
don't
be.
think I ever did that. I listened to a lot of he was definitely one of the guitarists where I had to work really hard to not, like, imitate everything he was doing.
Yo, there are players like that. Yeah, 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 yeah. I mean, same Derek Bailey, right? That's easy to
Yeah.
fall into imitating,
Yep.
which you never fell into that. I
And
know.
sometimes imitating is just part of the process. Like,
Yeah,
you learn what somebody's doing, you just have to do it and then move on.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I did actually, now that I think about it, fall into Frisell imitating. Not the effects and the sound, and not
Mhm.
ever publicly in, like, stuff that it got released, but when I first got into him, I did fall into I don't know, just a certain, like, dyad stuff, like, way of playing, the minimalist kind of elements of his playing and just how he played on standards. I definitely trying to rip him off a little bit was good.
Yeah.
Good
Yeah,
for
because there is a very specific like, one thing that he does, I think that's really unique is he can play, like, 2 or 3 notes and somehow, like, outline, like, an entire chord, but, like,
it.
leaving the stuff out, and he barely plays anything, and you know exactly what it is.
That, I mean, yeah. Yeah, that, like, knowing tunes on that level where you
Yeah,
can just,
he's pretty phenomenal.
yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, I could definitely see, yeah, I mean, he's, like, kind of essential influence.
Mhm.
There's certain, like, rippers that, like, we've never talked about. I mean, are you into, like, just straight Pat Martino and, like, just like Benson? Like, I've been deep on
Yeah.
Benson lately. I mean, are you like, is that, I never thought I would care about him until I was like, this is,
Yeah, I mean, I like all that stuff. I think, I went through my little phase of hating the guitar, and I think when I got out of that, it's almost the opposite now. Like, I really appreciate just the instrument and like even if like stylistically I'm not super into what somebody's doing, I think just like I can really appreciate all these different ways of playing guitar and, you know, people's technique and approach. And it's just, and also just how different everybody is.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I remember Pat Martino for sure. I was, I can really appreciate some Pat Martino.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You got to be in a real loving the guitar phase to like love stuff that isn't really how you roll exactly, or like, you know, just to appreciate like, yeah, to appreciate like just specific technical aspects, you know, rather than
Totally.
like, you know, because like, yeah, like I've been really, yeah, I've been just digging Benson lately and just being like I was listening to some of your stuff and just these like ripping eighth note runs and stuff. And I was just like, her feel is so happening. Like your pocket on these fast, like, you know, eighth or 16th note runs. And I was like, man, I have no idea whether Mary listens to George Benson or not. I could imagine, fuck no. I could imagine, hell yeah. But I was like, but I like thought of him. I was like, this is artistically so different. But I'm like, just this like type of pocket on like eighth notes. I'm like, I wonder if
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I love George Benson. I mean, but also he isn't somebody that I've like listened to as extensively as a lot of other players. So
yeah. Well,
but
because
I
a
don't
lot of it
know.
is just smooth jazz. So you're just like, it's the
Yeah,
we didn't come up listening to that. So it was
yeah,
just a
exactly.
thing. But then once you're like, oh, guitar player wise, what is this? Like, bro,
Yeah.
it's like so sick. Let me see, like, what am I okay, so commenters, absolutely ask questions if you have, because I like I've got general topics, but I sort of that I usually don't consult a list, but I there's definitely stuff that I may have not gotten to. Skull Crusher is asking about Mary, you played on the Braxton record where everyone was playing Braxton pieces from
Mhm.
iPods in addition to their instruments.
Oh, yeah, that was crazy. Um,
Want to talk about that?
yeah, so that was, it was his he was doing a musical system called Echo Echo Mirror House, and we were all given this dates the project, we were all given iPods with, his entire discography on it, and we all had a speaker, and then we also were reading these scores. So while we were playing and reading the scores and being conducted by Anthony, we were also each DJing. I think there were 7 people maybe in the one that I did. We each had to play, you know, choose selections and then switch them at certain points when we were given a signal from his discography. And it was pretty insane. I mean, it was like the craziest wall of noise, but like different things would pop out. You know, suddenly you would hear these different things come out. Super dense and super crazy. And I love how just bold and weird that idea was. But I remember actually thinking like, I don't know what to do. Like usually when you're playing music, it was so unfamiliar, I think, to be in that situation that it was hard for me to gauge like, am I doing this right? Am I doing the right thing? Like how am I like when I don't know. I didn't know. So it felt like kind of more than anything I've done, like what is going on and in an exciting way,
Yeah,
you
it's
know,
experimental music, like, actually, like, is this even landing? Like, what
yeah,
right.
totally. I had no idea. So it was really cool just to be a part of that and have no idea like how's this going? How's it sounding? I have no idea.
I doubt he had a, like, a strong opinion, like, to who got it right. I mean, I wouldn't imagine, like, right, he's
Yeah,
got some, like, it was supposed to go this way, and
but
it
I
did.
meant more the piece as a whole, you know, like what is it? How do you even listen to it?
Yeah.
You know, like I didn't even know how to listen to it. So if I didn't know how to listen to it, how do you play it? It was very crazy. It was really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, well, there's a lot of stuff that I wouldn't listen to, just a recording of, but live, I would be put in
Mhm.
a headspace where I would be able to enter it in a different way.
Yeah, it
Um,
probably sounded actually kind of amazing, I would imagine. Just like
yeah.
this wall of sound with you can like listen for all these different little things, but
Wait, people had iPods where you were like DJing, like playing it through speakers,
yeah,
and you were playing along with it,
you
or
were playing like separately from that. So it was just like the layers of things. Like you were DJing from the iPod that had his discography, plus playing, plus reading these scores and being conducted.
Right, 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 right. I mean, this is very Stockhausen. That
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, and Braxton loved Stockhausen.
yeah, just maximalist concept. Yeah, the yeah, he's a real avant-gardist. I know that sounds like a really obvious thing to say, but it's like I'm kind of something. This is a big question, and I know we're not going to go for another like huge chunk of time here, but I mean, we both studied with Braxton, right? We sort of, and that was like a big guy early on, right?
Mhm,
And so we've gone on to do like a lot of different, stuff that spans quite a spectrum of sounds, I guess. Some of it's more difficult than others, right? I mean, some of the stuff you've done is more dissonant, it's more noisy, stuff with Weasel.
mhm,
And then there's like stuff that's on a more like I don't know, like less harsh, I guess, side of things.
mhm.
Same with me. Like, how do you relate, man, to the even the idea of just being like avant-garde or like experimental? Like, is that an idea? Because I've changed how I feel about even just the concept of that. Because you know what I'm saying? With the Braxton, you'd
Mhm,
be like, that's an avant-garde. That guy changed language on
mhm,
the instrument.
mhm.
Do you like, I don't know. Is that something you like feel like in the tradition of, or do you like that idea? Or like what are your, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Experimentalism, I don't know, like as a thing. Like because I kind of I don't consider myself real like an avant-gardist, even though that was
Did
my
you
original.
used to and then now you
Yeah, I
don't?
guess, I guess, or somehow when I was doing with Braxton, it was like early on, even though I was like, okay, there's these rock elements and there's singing and there's stuff that's
Mhm.
like, I generally was like, I want to make stuff that is like changing the way things are going in music in general. You know what
Right.
I mean? Like
Right, right,
like
right.
like being like, I'm challenging stuff. Like what
Yeah.
I'm doing is gonna like, I don't know, butt up against things and move things along. And nowadays
Mhm.
I'm just kind of like, I'm just doing what I want to do. And maybe it's normal and maybe it's weird.
Yeah.
Just
I
me.
totally relate to that. I think I had a similar, path. Or maybe there's a thing maybe when you're younger, you're more caught up in, like, how things are perceived or what people think or, you wanna be thought of as, like, yeah, super avant-garde or experimental. Because that was we were taught that, like, that's what you do.
Right, right.
You push buttons and test boundaries and go for something crazy. And that becomes, like, pretty tied up in your identity. So I think also, like, at a certain point, like, I just don't care what people think as much as I did when I was much younger. So it's like, I'm just gonna do what I wanna do, and if what I wanna do is play a beautiful song, that's fine. If I wanna do something super weird, that's also fine. So I think, like, at this point, I just wanna, like, make music that I think is interesting,
Yeah.
and I care a little bit less about, like we talked about before, how it's labeled or how it's perceived or whatever. Like, as long as I like it, like, cool. That's
Right.
it.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, I think you and me and everyone we roll with is kind of on that same page. I think about though, like someone like Braxton, like there's a certain I mean, even aside from like worrying about what people are gonna think or perception, though, this kind of like I remember him talking about, he would always talk about restructural. He would talk about someone
Yeah.
being a restructural.
Stylism versus restructuralism.
Stylism versus restructuralism, right? Like, so restructuralism changes like the language of music or the language of your instrument, like formally how it works, right? And then being a stylistic master means you sort of
Mhm.
are synthesizing other people's innovations. And I
Right.
kind of like, I mean, I don't know if I had a clear, of course, those categories don't exactly apply, but it's an interesting way that he has to look at things. And I just kind of like very early on was like, I'm not restructuring anything here. Like,
Mm.
like you can be unique without being restructural, I guess.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know.
totally.
I mean, do those words mean it, like restructural versus stylistic? Like, did they, I don't know. Do you relate to those as,
Yeah, I mean, I remember him talking about that, and I remember thinking that, like, being a restructuralist sounded way cooler than being a stylist.
it sounds cooler. It sounds cooler, but then it's like, I mean, I'm not really doing, like, are you doing that? Are you restructuring? I don't know. It's hard to like quantify
No,
what
I mean, that's the thing, I think it isn't that black and white, actually. And I think there's people that kinda operate, in between. you
Yeah.
know, and I think there's like super creative stuff happening um, with people that would be considered like stylists, you know, like they're still innovating within a style. You know, I think that's kind of like what he meant. And he actually wasn't, he never really spoke about one being better than the other.
Oh, definitely not. Yeah. No, no. Yeah.
Um, and that was kind of cool too. Like he wasn't being like, you know, you have to change the
Yeah.
shape of music.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was
No, I mean,
encouraging you to try, I think.
yeah. Yeah. No, no, one was not better than the other for
Yeah.
sure, because he would talk about how, yeah, he would talk about how Charlie Parker was restructural, Sonny Stitt was a stylist, right?
Yes.
Sort of, or
Mhm.
like Clifford Brown, stylist,
Yep.
Braxton, restructural,
Yeah.
just like absolute, yeah.
Yep.
Um, but it's kind of like it did get me thinking though about just like that generation, like even just the 20th century, like I don't even know if I want more innovation and restructural. I mean, it's like I feel like we're still just recovering from the amount of innovation. I mean, just in the 20th century, it's like
Yeah.
it's almost like trauma or something. Like just the amount of innovation we're just like still processing.
Yeah.
Um, but like yeah, like I mean that it is yeah, those the idea of innovating is just a weird thing because it's like, you know, like yeah, like do you need to do being a stylist, you can have your own style, but it
Mhm.
isn't necessarily you could be the most unique stylist in the world, but it doesn't necessarily have to be like changing the way everyone else plays.
Right.
Like Braxton, he's like changing the way the saxophone just is in the world. It's
Totally.
like, or Derek Bailey changed the way the guitar player, the guitar just is.
Exactly,
But,
exactly. And I
yeah.
think for him, a stylist is somebody that's like maybe they're totally unique and have their own voice, but it's within the confines of an existing style.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like language, I guess, versus style or whatever.
Mhm.
Um, let's see. Any other it's a Chris Childs Chris is asking, at this point in your life slash career, do you ever find yourself improvising with people that aren't good improvisers, quote unquote, like being in a performance where you feel frustrated by someone not listening? Uh, you probably haven't played
Um,
with someone who sucked in a while, right? I mean, it's probably a thing of the past for
I
you.
mean, yeah, I guess not really. Like I feel like everyone I play with is a great musician,
They all
more or
kill.
less these
So,
days. But I do feel like you can definitely I've definitely been in situations where I feel like I'm not connecting with somebody, um, you know, where you just don't like mesh well with somebody. You're not having like a good musical conversation with somebody. I've definitely been in situations where I feel like people are overplaying. Um, yeah, so I think for me, it's less at this point about is somebody a good improviser and more like, do I musically relate to this person and have a connection? Because somebody can be an incredible improviser and you just don't feel like a kinship with them for whatever reason. Like that definitely happens.
yeah. Yeah, sometimes it's like, why isn't this working? There's no way to explain why it isn't. But for
And
some,
sometimes it's not even like it's working or it's not. You know, it's like the stylism and restructuralism thing. It's not like black and white, but sometimes you can have like a pretty good connection with somebody. But there's definitely like certain moments where you play with somebody and it's like a very strong connection. And sometimes that's even like surprising, you know, you didn't know. Or sometimes you like thought something would be incredible and maybe it was like just okay. But I
yeah,
think, yeah, at this point, I mean, I feel lucky that I get to play with amazing improvisers all the time. So, yeah.
yeah, it's funny when I was started reading that question, I actually thought the question was going to be more along the lines of like, is there value in playing with people who aren't that great at their instrument? Not like feeling
Mhm.
frustrated, but actually collaborating with someone who's like not really that sick, but like the music ends up being sick.
I mean,
Uh,
it could happen.
yeah,
Absolutely.
I don't take that risk nowadays, but it's like, is there sort of, I don't know. I feel like when you're younger, sometimes you'd be like jam with someone who's like not very good at their instrument, but it's like something deep happens and there's something
Yeah.
feeling. But right on. Well, we could go for hours, but there are limits. Life life continues. You got stuff to do. Um yeah, I don't know. What's you have any I don't know, any final thoughts? Anything people should know, like that you've got going on, or I don't know, surprises? Well, that's not a surprise.
Surprises.
It's not a surprise if you tell people, but
Yeah, I mean, I got a ton of tour dates in the fall, so I guess a lot of stuff in Europe and the States. So I guess people could look out for that if they're interested. Um, but yeah, nothing super earth-shattering to report at the
yeah.
moment.
I got to check out the stuff that you're doing. I mean, Amaryllis, I'm up to date, but you're doing gigs with Chess's group as well, right?
Yes.
That's what is that called again?
Um, Clone Row, and
Clone
he just
Row.
put
Yeah,
out the record is really cool. He put out the record in June, and yeah, we're doing a bunch of stuff in the fall, including a Europe thing and a thing in the States. So that's really fun music and very guitar-y. Since we're on the topic of guitar, it's me and Liberty Ellman on
ooh,
guitars and Nick Dunstan on bass and Chess on drums.
I
So
know Nick.
that's been a lot of fun.
Oh, that's cool. Two guitar. Okay, yeah. And that's yeah. So this is some of the stuff you've been shedding. A lot of is that
Mhm.
very practice intensive?
I haven't even started looking at that stuff yet, and I really need to because it's not easy. So that's on my to-do list.
Ah, that rules. I want to check that out. Are you playing New York with that anytime?
Yes, we have a show at Public Records. I think it's sometime in early October, maybe the 3rd or 4th, 5th, something like that.
Right on. Sick. All right. I gotta catch some of your fall dates, whether it's Amaryllis or with Chess or any of these things.
Cool, and likewise, I know you're recording and you got a bunch of stuff coming
Yeah,
up.
no gigs booked though at the moment. It's
Mhm.
just but yeah, I'll be doing some more. I'll be doing some solo stuff in the fall in New York and maybe something
Great.
in DC or whatever. But
Well, keep me posted. I would love to hear the solo thing.
yeah, definitely. I wish Extra Life were in New York too. I mean, I wish it's not a New York band anymore. It's
Yeah.
long distance, so it's like touring only basically.
Right, right.
We just did, we did Europe in June, and
Mhm,
we've been doing Europe a bunch, but yeah, I wish we could just be hitting in New York like back in the day.
mhm.
But sometimes the sickest people are elsewhere.
Yep.
Got to do the touring only thing. But word, Mary, thank you so much for coming by.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This was
Yeah.
really fun.
Yeah. Good excuse to just hang out too.
Totally.
But yeah, good. I'll catch you in the fall someplace and sometime.
Sounds good.
All right. Thanks everyone for watching.
All right.
All right. Peace.
Bye.